Okay, hi guys. Today I wanted to talk just a bit about some of the ways that evil entities and darkness attach to our bodies and systems. And let me preface this with I can only share here. I can only share here what I'm being shown and taught, like in my life. So obviously there's a lot more, but I'm just being guided to share some of the things I'm being shown and taught. And obviously we're all at different places and we're learning in layers and levels. So some people may not be ready for this, and some people may be way beyond this. Like, oh, we knew that 10 years ago. So I'm just sharing things that I'm learning. Okay. So one thing that has always been, well, it's not always, okay, go back to what I was saying. One of the ways that we have seen a lot, my husband and I, through healing sessions on others, but as well as in our own life, different ways that darkness likes to attach to us. And I would say the biggest way right now that they can attach and suck and drain the energy of us lovely light beings is they attach mostly to the lower centers, your lower chakras. And so this is in connection with sex and food. Obviously, these are two huge things in this world. The lower centers also house and are connected to pleasure. So the pleasure, even addictive, like think of all the addictions: drugs, alcohol, food, sex addictions, all these things. A lot of them are housed in the lower centers of our beings. And so they get to you through these places. Now, one thing I've learned, obviously really powerfully, is that fasting casts these out. So when you fast, first of all, you say no to the pleasure of food. Like, you put off all the pleasures. To be able to fast, you have to put off the pleasures, even the pleasure of a drop of water on your tongue if you're doing dry. And I have seen so many different stories where entities, evil entities, attachments, and all the ways they kind of stick to us and get in and like suck our energy. It's often through the lower centers. It's mostly the lower centers, and fasting kind of cuts that off. So I've just heard so many different cases. Let me tell you about this one case of this one guy. Because there are different levels, just like in the light realms, we have levels of light beings. So there's angels, archangels, archai. What's above archai? There's like cherubim, seraphim. Like these levels, you go up to, Christ is at the top, and then you have like Elohim just below Christ or something like that. So you've got these levels of light. Well, you have levels of darkness, right? And it's totally different. But you have stronger entities that attach in stronger ways. And some of them need fasting to be cast out. Fasting of a sort. If you're guided to like a water fast to be able to cast out. Or even a juice fast can do it. Dry fasting is extremely powerful. It's not for everyone. But so some of the worst ones, what I've seen is the magical number 7. And again, this can be a water fast, right? If you're doing this with Christ and you are, God is guiding you, you can cast the worst out in like a water fast, like of a 7-day length. Because 7's a very symbolic number. It's like the length of a cycle, right? So you've got the whole week. You've got the creation of the earth. You've got kind of this, it's like a completion. This 7 days makes kind of a full round completion. And so let me tell you this one story. So there's this guy, it's a really good story, this guy from Russia. And his was bad. So he was having really, really evil, dark, very inappropriate thoughts in his mind. Like, he went to psychiatrists, psychologists. He was on a few different medicines. So evil was so attached, they were putting super horrible thoughts in his mind, like perverted. Like, he actually left his family for a time because he was so afraid of the disgusting thoughts being put in his mind. He was worried he might act on them and hurt his children. Okay, so this is probably what you might say the worst, one of the worst kinds. Very vile, very dark thoughts. And I mean, just plaguing him to the point where he thought he was going crazy. Well, anyway, so this guy, I can't remember how he was guided. I think he read something in the Bible about fasting, and he's like, hey, and he just like felt like, I gotta do this. I gotta do it now. So I don't remember all the details, and those don't matter. He like rented a little place, I think on an island nearby where he lived or something, this little place. And, so he just did 7 days dry. Anyway, so numerous things were, on day 3, he felt a reprieve. So there were numerous things cast out on day 3, but the worst of the worst were like, so the worst ones, the really evil entities. It was like day 6.5, he felt like he was going crazy and they were plaguing him, and the evil was going crazy because they didn't want to get kicked out. They love their comfy home. When they attach to us and possess us in different ways, they love it and they want to stay. So they were just, you can imagine the gnashing of teeth. Wailing, gnashing of teeth, you can imagine how horrible it must have been. So this man was like, I mean, to the point he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like he needs to bang his head on a wall. He's like, please help me. Like, God help. Well, there was this point where, okay, so it was like day 6.5, going into day 7. Okay. Just about to day 7. There was this point where he was on the bed, like, and they were tormenting him with thirst and with food, and then with everything else, just like going crazy. Well, anyway, this guy was on the bed, and he was laying on the bed, kind of like, please help. Well, anyway, so I kid you not, these evil entities, they lifted him up in the air, and he was terrified. He could hear like growling type of thing, and he cried out something like, Jesus help me, something like that. Yeah, something like, Jesus help me. And like these entities that were like holding him up, I mean, this was like their last stand, right? Their last chance, because they had possessed him and been attached to him for so long, they didn't want to leave their home and get kicked out forever. And so he was lifted up off the bed, probably to scare him, and no, we will not leave. And he cries out, and then all of a sudden he drops, like everything is let go. And then he falls into like cushion angel hands. So his angels caught him, right? And then he was lifted down, down to the bed gently. And they were cast out and removed fully on day 7. I know. Let me finish the story. I'm good at wondering. So this man had the worst of the worst, completely cast out on day 7. He was completely transformed. They were gone. His mind was free. Like, he tells how he could feel, he could breathe the sun, all experiencing life again. He didn't know he'd been missing, right? And so he became completely, you would call this not just a mighty change of heart, but a mighty change of body, heart, mind, soul. Okay, so this man had a massive transformation, intense, with all the darkness leaving. 7 days is, like I said, very special and important. I have been in different dry fasting groups, and just lots of searching and talking to other people. And 7 days is like this magical number. I have never heard of a case where evil entities stayed attached past 7. 7 is like, kick them out, right? I will tell you, lesser entities, 3. 3 is a very special and beautiful lesser entities, less strong ones, you might say, get kicked out at 3. So if you wanted to be brave and try like a 3-day, you could do like a water fast where you're just doing water. The dry fasts are particularly powerful. They're 3 times more powerful than water fasting. Dry fasting is. So it's the equivalent of a 9-day water fast. 3 days dry is. Anyway, so the entities were kicked out of that his lower chakras. Now, when you fast, you put off all of the pleasures of your lower centers. So you take out the pleasures of the food, which once you start like dry fasting, you lose all pleasures you lose all desire for pleasures of the flesh. Like, I'll just tell you that here and now. Like anything sexual sounds so completely unappealing. And you can imagine that, right? That's like, well, of course that makes sense. But, so one thing I wanted to talk about is that, even in married couples who love each other, there are definitely, I don't know how to say this because it's kind of sensitive. There are ways to purify yourself, purify your body, your heart, your mind, so that you're kind of in higher frequency, because it is actually, it's hard to say, but it's more common than you would think for really beautiful, good individuals who are following what you would call light paths. Like, for example, in my old church, it was like, if you were married in I used to be LDS, and they would, you got married in the temple. So it was like supposedly this special sacred place. And if you were married in this temple, then you had this special celestial marriage. And it was never taught that anything can ever touch you, like in the bedroom, right? Like no one talks about, wait, how do we stay safe as a couple? Because I'm telling you guys, it is very, very common for husbands and wives, even married, to both be kind of consumed by lusts of the flesh, and they simply live, and it's possible to partake of the lust of the flesh, but with your spouse, because there's kind of this belief, well, you're married, so you're married, you're not committing adultery, that you're not breaking any chastity laws, you're married. But I'm telling you, evil entities can absolutely attach no matter where you're married. If you're an LDS member and you're married in the temple, like, they can absolutely, and they love to attach to two people lusting, married or not. And so, just delicate subject. So, hey. I got it. Oh, I got it. Ooh. I got the mosquito. Did you see that? I actually don't like to smack them. It kind of grosses me out. But so I try to smack them, but not too hard because I don't want them to splat. So it's like, because I'm like grossed out by splatting. I can't splat things. I can't splat spiders. I can't splat bugs. It's more like my husband can take toilet paper and pinch an earwig and I'm like, I can't do it. Anyway, okay, going back. So, so it's always it's kind of this assumed thing, and that you're just kind of automatically safe because you're married. And so it's like, well, we're not committing adultery, we're not transgressing, we're married. Well, evil wants us to believe that they're not there and that they can't touch us, and that to not even believe in them, right? And so if you don't believe evil entities exist, like evil spirits. If you don't believe these guys, Satan's minions, if you don't believe they exist, that's exactly where they want you to be, because then you're ignorant of them and their presence, and they can do what they want with you because you're just a walking, and they can attach in all these different ways. Well, yes, they can attach in marriage. They can attach to your lower centers, and they feed off creation energy. Okay, so imagine a married couple, wanting to have an intimate romantic evening together, and completely unaware of these presences, and it's weird to talk about. It's weird to talk about because I know so many people are probably like, I don't know what you're saying. Oh, sorry. That's a kid. Is he done? Oh, someone's touching his stuff on his desk. Anyway, so imagine this married couple. They don't know. They don't think to pray or sanctify kind of this space more, to make it more holy. And so it's like, imagine a wife, maybe she's reading a romance novel at home, waiting for her husband. And so she's like, kind of getting turned on, like, oh, honey, tonight's going to be a special night. Imagine that. And then imagine him at work, gets her text or something, like, oh, getting excited. Do you know what I mean? And they're married, so people are like, oh, well, that's beautiful. That's intimacy. Well, Huh? Can you hang on just a sec? Hang on. And so they go and they have an intimate evening, and what creation is one of God's highest, is creation. It's kind of God's highest light practice, like form, right? In the word, right? He created the heavens and the earth, like pure creation energy. Well, in this intimate relationship, they have creation energy abounding, right? They're not actually creating a child. Let's say they're not creating a child that night, but the entities, evil sucks this. They love this because they can't make it. They can't get this. They are in a place where they cannot get light from God. They have rejected God. They cannot get their own light, so they get it from where they can. And if people are unaware that they are feeding their lusts, even in marriage, then these evil entities can feed on them and suck their energy and attach to their lower centers. And it's something you don't want. I'm sharing this so people can know. So you can go, oh my goodness, I didn't know that was possible. I would pray. So if you want to have a higher, holier place, there's levels and layers of getting brighter and having more holy interactions, and having like Christ in your heart really powerfully. So I'd say there's levels of like I don't know how to explain it. I just don't have the vocabulary. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's places, in the beginning, I would just pray. I would say, please sanctify this space. Like Jesus will, I know this sounds weird, but I would call for your highest divine team, like your angels, to purify your space, to surround you. I know it sounds weird. And just Jesus, say, please keep me as pure as possible. Please guard. There's different ways to kind of shield your home, shield your body from entities. I'm sorry. I have something right there. And it's really... So that's what I would say for beginning. I would say pray. Now, I want to talk just a tiny bit about something that is called an ancient practice, Indian practice called Brahmacharya. I probably didn't pronounce that right. Brahmacharya. And this is a practice where you basically are saying, I give up all pleasures of the flesh, right? And it's for personal purification, right? So during the period of Brahmacharya, you probably wouldn't be dry fasting because most people do longer periods of this. But let's say you don't eat pleasure foods. Let's say you just eat like simple raw. Maybe you eat raw fruits and vegetables or something, right? So you're not feeding the pleasures of the flesh. So you literally are saying, God, I give up the pleasures of the flesh to know you more. I give up these pleasures, and that could definitely include media, right? Your music, whatever pleasures of the flesh. And there are many who do periods of Brahmacharya, and you give up. And this is a concept that I am going to tiptoe very lightly and gently, because I know a lot of people who would run at me and say, you're nuts. I would never do that. And I understand. I totally understand. Can you hear that? Is that? Oh, okay, yeah. Anyway, so periods of Brahmacharya are where you would choose to give up sexual pleasures of all kinds. Yes, sexual pleasures of all kinds for a period of time to purify your lower centers. So, this isn't necessary. Not everyone has to do this. In fact, a lot of people will not resonate with that. But I can't tell you how many people I know where God has said, he has kind of prompted and guided them, like, give me this period of time to heal your lower centers. And so this would look like sacrificing all pleasures of the sexual kind. That's lustful thoughts, any sort of intimacy, even with your spouse, right? And a period to purify your lower centers. So it's like fasting. It's like fasting for your root chakra. A period, you could call it a period of celibacy, but it's not really celibacy because it's just like a little section, a period of time, like, and I know most people would be like, I already know. It's like, what? Who would do that? But guys, if God really asked you to do that, are you willing to do it? Like, if God really said, give me 6 months, give me 6 months to purify and heal your lower centers, to clear all trauma energy, to clear all trapped emotions, to cast out any attachments from dark places, to literally purify the lower centers of your body, which most people don't purify, right? Like, a lot of people don't. Most people don't even fast. So it's like, okay, well, how pure do you want to be? Levels, right? Levels, like, so I've purified, right? A day of fasting, great. 2 days of fasting, I've gone that deep and purified. 3 days of fasting, and of course you don't have to keep, you follow what God tells you to do, right? But I have met a lot of amazing people and what's funny is a lot of them come from fasting, so they've already healed their bodies in different ways. But our lower centers tend to hold a lot of the trauma energy. So if you've had trauma in your current life, and I will say there is trauma from past lives. A lot of people don't know about their past lives. They don't know they've been here before. And so if you've had a past life where you were abused, where you were sexually abused, or let's say not a past life, but you had a great-great-grandma that was sexually abused, you probably brought that genetic trauma through your genes, and it needs to be healed and cleared. Those who are awake to this healing and clearing are typically the ones that end up doing it because they know. There's a lot of people that don't know. And, I don't blame them. I didn't know anything. I knew none of this. But guys, there's a lot of people walking around with some serious trauma in their lower centers from past life sexual trauma or abuse of different kinds, and it lodged in the lower centers. Now, I'll say this. So genetic, your ancestry line. I'll give you a quick example. My grandma, there was my grandma's father. Was it my grandma's father? Yeah, he was abusive. And would drink a lot. And there are some yucky stories of how just abusive relationship stories from my grandmother's side. And some of that came through. Lots of that actually came through. And I ended up healing and clearing that because I'm in a place where I know how to do this. So, obviously, we're all in different places. And if you don't know, you're not able to just fully consciously do it, but your angel team may be helping you do it anyway. There's a lot of people that are, you would say, ignorant of their trapped emotions and trauma, but just because they're ignorant of it doesn't mean their divine team isn't helping them. And it doesn't mean that Jesus Christ isn't helping them clear it out, right? But once you become aware, then it's a big responsibility. So I've cleared a lot of that from my family line. That came through in me, okay? And this manifested as part of this trauma energy from this abusive or not super abusive, but like alcoholic, scary times, came through and manifested in a cyst in my brain, which when I removed that trauma energy, the cyst disappeared. There was so many trapped emotions and so many different things. And some of that was, or a chunk of that was from the trauma. And so just acknowledging that there's a really good chance we have trapped emotions, energies, whatever it is, whatever form of darkness. Let's not even label it. Whatever form of darkness in your lower centers that you may have, it can be purified, healed, and completely cleansed. It can be purified, healed, and completely cleansed through fasting. And if God guides you through periods of sexual purity, a period of sexual purity. Now, I've got to say, your spouse has to be on board with this because obviously your spouse has to be on board because they're like, hey, don't you love me anymore? But here's the thing is, I can't think of anything more beautiful than a husband and a wife who God has guided to have a period of celibacy, to be able to heal their bodies. It is so beautiful because we live in a world where all the marriage books say sexual intimacy is the most important thing in a marriage. And so you have these couples who think that having sex is it. And not that that isn't important and beautiful. That can be very important and beautiful. But when you've experienced higher levels of Christ-like love for each other, it's more powerful. It's stronger. I don't know how to say this. It is so beautiful to see couples do this. Couples that take periods of fasting and they both choose to fast, and couples where God guides them to do a period of time where they both say, I relinquish all of my sexual addictions. I let go of lust, all longing. I just let go, give it to God, right? You can't see my hands. Let go, give it to God, right? And seek Jesus Christ in this period of purification. because the lower centers hold so much of the heaviness, guys. The lower centers do. Like honestly, the evil in today's world, they can't really attach. They can't attach to your heart. Like this is where you're kind of Christ. This is where God dwells. And like this isn't a happy place for evil to be. They don't go near these places usually, from what I've seen. It's the lower centers. And because the human race right now is rather fallen in a lot of ways, I mean, we're becoming more and more amazing. So I'm not saying we're terrible, but in the ways that we've fallen to our addictions, we want to eat. We want to make love. Sorry, that doesn't make sense. You get what I'm saying. And I do see, and it's okay. It's okay. Again, this isn't for everybody, but I do see married couples who are very good, beautiful, bright people. I do see that there can be an addiction to sex and kind of a lust energy. And because it's within marriage, it's not really seen. Because it's like, oh, we just had, we have amazing date nights every 3 nights or something. Do you know what I'm saying? I know. Tiptoe gently. A lot of people are probably like, Karen, don't you dare. I'm sorry. It's a truth and it's not easy. But anyway, fasting, even simply approaching God in prayer and saying, do I need to clear my lower centers? Are there things attached to me that are feeding off me and my spouse when we're intimate together? Like just knowing these things. Just knowing even the possibility of what I'm talking about. You can take that and take it to God, take it to Christ. Say, I want to be pure. I don't know about you, but I want to be pure. And okay, let's put it this way. Jesus Christ, if he fasted for 40 days, if he, the Son of God, Jesus Christ, if he had the need to fast for 40 days to purify his temple, that he could hold this Christ to begin his ministry among men, like to bring this God among men, and like he did his 40-day fast before. And if he had a need to purify his temple that much, we can definitely do a little better in our fasting. Fasting and prayer is like ultimate in casting out the darkness. When you fast, you will kick out the parasites. Like a 7-day dry fast, it will kick out your parasites, and those are directly linked to the evil darkness. I feel like people talk about the material and don't connect the spiritual. So if you go learn about parasites, they take over your system and they get you very low frequency. They love the low frequency stuff, and they get you thinking. They feed your mind. You need meat. You need donuts and all the junk that they desire. You want to watch that movie. You want to make love right now. You want to name all these different things that the parasites want. Like, they congregate. Well, when you do these long fasts, you do a clean sweep. Like, you kick them out. And like, you're reborn. You are reborn in many different ways from these long fasts. But not that everybody needs to do a long fast. Sorry. Excuse me. So anyway, this is just a simple, just sharing knowledge about ways that our lower centers can be purified further. Because I don't know about you, but I want to be like Jesus. And I want my temple to be as pure and holy. And because the more clean, the more pure this temple is, the more holy we become, the more we embody our light. The more, and the more we embody, the more we can do, right? We become, guys, I can't fit in the camera. It looks ridiculous. Because the more we can do, that means the more we can serve. And like that's why we're here. We're here to serve. We're here to help each other. And if this video helped somebody, I would love that. I just wanted to share. Because it's one of those things where I had no idea. Like I look back when I was like very blind in my old religion. I look back and I thought I had it all back then. Like, you know, my husband and I were doing all the best that we knew how. We would go to the temple and we would scriptures and church and all these different things we thought were the ultimate. Little did I know, God's taken me back and be like, Karen, look how they were attached to you. Look how they were affecting you. You had no idea. He has taught me and shown me so many different ways. I'm like, oh my goodness. So just teaching, just showing the different ways we can clean, purify, or even just start to pray. Is there stuff attached to me? God, is there something that needs to get kicked out? Right? Even if you were to like go a week without any sexual relations at all. Okay, one solid week. Say you and your spouse agreed upon this. And you're like, okay, God, show me. You might, after those 7 days, you might feel kind of this inner beast roaring up from the depths for more. And if you're feeling these lust, longing, this, you may very well have some casting out to do. Cast out too. Did I say cast out? Absolutely cast out. But I would do that first. And obviously include fasting and include however God guides you on your journey to healing your lower centers and clearing. It's quite a journey, and I had never heard of some of these things, but I've had a lot of learning, a lot of growth, and it's not easy. The spiritual journey is not the easier one. Guys, it's not. It's like the harder path up the mountain. Like, the spiritual journey is the harder journey, but it's the most rewarding. It's the most peace. I have never experienced more joy, more like ultimate God, like bliss, like pure love than through fasting and even periods of Brahmacharya, where I give God everything. I say, I give you it all. I give it all. Here's anything I think I need or anything I think I want. I put it on the altar. It's yours. Like, do what you need with me. Like, I'm here to serve. That's it, guys. That's it. Put everything you think you want, everything you think you need. Take that, put it on the altar of God and say, it's yours. I'm yours. And that's actually how we move up is through the service. It's through the service and the sacrifice. And sometimes it is hard to sacrifice. It is very hard to sacrifice. We know that. But going deeper and sacrificing bigger and in areas you never thought God would call you to sacrifice, such as maybe a period of celibacy to heal your lower centers. That's a big sacrifice. And it's not easy. Fasting, not easy. But again, the transformation that happens within, it's worth it. Anyway, wow. Long video. All right, thanks guys.